What up, buddybots? I know it's been a while since I've done any videos with commentary, and for that I want to apologise. Recently moved my computer downstairs, so I've got a lot less privacy to probably record things when the family are around. But pleasantries out of the way, people have been asking me recently to do a movement guide. Now, I personally don't know if I'm the most qualified to do a movement guide. I certainly use it in speedruns a lot, but there is definitely people that use it cleaner than I do because I'm often rushing when I do it. But we'll go through some of the basics, we'll go through some of the more advanced stuff. If I forget anything, feel free to remind me in chat, or if you think that you know of movement that I haven't covered and I just don't know about it, again, feel free to cover it in chat. Or in the comments, I mean. So, first of all, obviously you've got walking, sprinting, but moving sideways and moving backwards. Then you've got sliding, which just gives you a burst of speed in whichever direction you choose to do it. The base speed here does not change between if you're sprinting or standing still. So sliding sideways, same as sliding forward, you get the same distance, same speed, which means if you want to, moving on to what the game calls bunny hopping, I call it slide jumping. So you've got slide jumping here, which is the faster way of moving than walking or running, but you can also get the same speed doing that sideways. It's just a little bit harder to see where you're going and getting the timing down. Sorry, dog came through and disturbed me. So that's slide jumping, that's base movement. I kind of covered that information in my 5 tips and tricks video. So if you want to understand more about how much quicker slide jumping is than running, I've covered it before, I'm not going to do it again. Now, some people don't know that movement speed actually also affects your jump height, which is why I'm on Ranger at the moment, because he's got the easiest to change movement speed. So if I stand at the cactus, triple jump, I can shoot up to here. If I then do the stealth and get the 15% movement speed, you'll see that I got a little bit higher. So it is not a big change, and you probably won't want to base your gameplay around it or even really be aware of it most of the time, but it is something to be aware of because it can change your jump height, which then changes your distance from rocket jumping because you've got different amounts of momentum at different points. So, rocket jumping. Rocket jumping, as most gamers will know from games, is just where you shoot an explosive at the floor. Now, unfortunately, this game also has an alt fire called rocket jump. When I say rocket jumps, 9 times out of 10, unless I say alt fire rocket jump, I just mean an explosive pop up like this. Now, what affects rocket jumps is the speed that you are moving at when you do the rocket jump, because momentum is stored. Well, kind of stored. Momentum carries over. And your movement speed, because that is part of the momentum that you've got. And the explosion size of the explosion. The main reason movement speed comes into effect is because when you jump in the air, I stand here and then jump in the air. Oh, that wasn't a very good demonstration tool, was it? Let's stand on here, jump in the air, get this far, stand on here, jump in the air and sprint in the air. I get a lot more momentum. That's why I always suggest that you play with auto sprint on, because it just means if you're jumping in the air and you are pressing forward, you are automatically sprinting unless you're shooting. So you are getting more distance and you are able to avoid things easier. So that all works with rocket jumping as well, because if you run in the air while rocket jumping, obviously you're getting more forward momentum. Now in my speed runs, you'll probably see bits where I'll shoot forward more than up. And that's because what affects your rocket jumping is also the location of the rocket, or the explosion. So if I shoot it more in front of me, I go more up. If I shoot it behind me and jump forward slightly, I go forward. So if you aim straight down, run forward and just jump, you'll do just a forward rocket jump. But if I do a slide into a jump, I get a lot more speed and a lot more distance. Then if I combine the two, it changes a little bit less speed, a bit more height, and a little bit less distance. So you can kind of do these different jumps depending on what the terrain in front of you is going to be, so that you can try and get over them as best as you think is possible. But unfortunately, the movement mechanics of this game don't stop there. Because obviously you've got grappling hook. Now there aren't too many tricks you can do with grappling hook. You can kind of grappling hook up and then instantly rocket jump off the wall, which lets you get over ledges and stuff. And I tend to find if you want to ground pound after a grappling hook, it tends to be more consistent if you do a little jump first. It's not mandatory, it just seems to help kick in the jump, the ground pound easier. And then you've also got jetpack. Now jetpack has some interesting mechanics where it will slow down your momentum, but it will also store some momentum. So it's rarely a bad idea to use it to get more distance. And even after a slide hop, if you're not going to do another slide hop straight away, it's actually a little bit faster to do a little bit of a flutter before you land, because it just stores a bit more momentum than what running does. And now I can move on to some more shenanigans stuff. So there's something which the community have kind of known about but not fully explored, not utilised much. But now that we have all gadgets and that you've got Hero Cape, and the Hero Cape does huge amounts of damage, it's actually quite useful. I don't know what the community wants to call this tech overall. I call it a grav cancel because I play Brawlhalla and you have grav cancels in that, and it feels a lot like that. So what we'll do is we'll first try and show it and explain what we're doing. So it's difficult to explain. In games there's often something which is called a coyote jump, okay? So that's where you can jump after you've gone off a ledge. There's like an invisible aura around edges which lets you jump off them, right? And that's called a coyote jump. In this game you have something a little bit similar, but it's above the ground. So if I'm just bunny hopping around like this, slide hopping, what I can actually do is trigger this a few frames earlier, and I can do it above the ground, which is difficult to show, but trust me, like, I'm doing it here. Okay, that overall doesn't offer much from just a jumping perspective, but what it does do is, now that you're aware of it, you'll be aware of those situations when you think you're hopping around and then you find that you've lost all your jumps and you're sure that you're just on the floor, and now you're just jetpacking just a little bit above the floor. Like it's that plane of like non-existence. But the biggest use for this actually becomes apparent with jetpack, because jetpacking, as we said earlier, stores certain momentum. So if I am to showcase a normal jetpack, I just jump and hold. Okay, that's the speed we go at, that's the height that we go at. Now if I do the grav cancel and hold the jump, oh, it's a little bit tough on the hands. I've been playing all day, so my hands are hurting a little bit. Nope, that wasn't it. There we go. So you see, you kind of do a little bit of a curve on the floor, and then you start to get a lot of upwards momentum, and it climbs a lot quicker and uses a lot less fuel. Yeah, so you can see it gets a lot of height. Now this isn't that useful overall unless you want to quickly go over something you don't have the grappling hook, or you want to ground pound, really. Because it's very good if you go in and just zip and ground pound. It's just decent damage. So what happens though if we combine these? Because obviously if you can get that amount of speed with jumping and slide cancelling, and then propelling yourself up with the backpack or the jetpack. What happens if you do that with rocket jumping? So the easiest version of this, I call it like mega rocket jump or whatever, but if you just, it is easiest with the flare gun. If you just short hop, hold it, and then shoot at the floor. Okay, so that's how high I get normally with that. This is how high I get normally with jetpack. But if you combine the two, okay, I've got lots of fuel left and I'm at the skybox. And then if we do that with forward momentum, oh, that wasn't very good. We do that with forward momentum. As I say, I'm not perfect at these. We can go further, yeah? And it's actually possible to combine the grav cancel slide into the rocket jump to get even more momentum. It's difficult to showcase in these areas because of the layout, and the skybox is actually quite small here, but like that. Now, is it all that useful? Not really. The main use for this in speed running is like that there. So that was wall hopping rather than rocket jumping, where we're already in the air and we're shooting the walls to get some more sideways momentum. And we're using the jetpack to store the momentum like we were off the ground, except we're doing it off the wall. So yeah, it kind of stores the momentum and lets you keep that vertically rather than horizontal. Oh, horizontal rather than vertical, I mean. So you'll see Man of Many Oats. I don't know if you watch his streams or any of his content, you probably haven't read it. He does that kind of storage quite often, where he'll rocket jump towards some stairs, or he'll rocket jump towards a wall. And what he's doing is he's just doing a singular jump, and then he's timing it just right, so he's holding jump as he goes towards it, and then he'll do a second jump, and that'll get him lots of height really quickly and lots of momentum, and let him traverse the map in seconds. And that's all he's doing, is he's just rocket jumping, holding the jetpack to jump, and then hitting another rocket jump. So once you're aware of the maps and these different combos that you can do, you can get a lot of speed. Now, we're not done. See, Roboquest has so many movement options, it's beautiful. And now that you have this handy area down here, you have more ways of actually testing these without being in a run. So we've talked about the flare gun and topping, and we've talked about how explosion size affects your rocket jumps. Now, with the mine gun, you don't get as much speed or height out of the rocket jumps, and it's a bit harder to use. But some nifty tricks you can do with it is, obviously you can put it here and slide past it and then rocket jump, and you can get almost perfectly just horizontal speed rather than any vertical speed. And what's even better, a lot of you all already know this, is you can fly with the mine gun. So if you look down and just shoot, and then like a frame later trigger it, you can just keep flying around. And if you didn't know, when you rocket jump, it refreshes your jumps. So 1, 2, 3, rocket jump 1, rocket jump 1, rocket jump 1, rocket jump jump, rocket jump jump. So you can actually stay in the air quite a long time. And then you can flutter the fuel to keep it going. There is a tech that is quite difficult to pull off in here. I normally do it in Haven, where you can bunny hop off the floor to gain fuel back and still keep momentum. We'll see if we can do it here. So using fuel, not getting any speed, because fuel doesn't regenerate while you're in the sky, as you'll notice. But if you head bonk, or if you bounce off the floor, then it does start regenerating. I can't get this jump right. I know I can do it from here, it's just a pain in the ass. So you just flutter past and then you would just do a light jump. You don't want to do a slide jump because that will cancel your momentum. If I don't get this, I'm going to just stop trying. Yes, I'm recording a guide all in one clip again. It's better if I do clips, I know, and if I do them, because then you get better content and it's all more concise. But I'm sure you want to see me fail as well, so you know that practice doesn't make perfect. Well, take my word for it, you can do it. It's really difficult off that, but it's a lot easier in Haven and stuff. Not that you tend to need it, because you can just rocket across the map. So there are two other types of launches that I'm going to cover, and I am going to drop the clip here and then pick up when I'm doing these other ones, because you can't do them in here, you have to do them during a run really. So we'll hop to them. The two that we're going to cover are bounce pad jumps, where you can store your momentum off yellow bounce pads and shoot really fast, and hero cape launching, which is where you will hero cape down onto an enemy and it will send you sideways. Rather than just head bonking and going back up, it sends you sideways and you get loads of momentum. If you're able to get it consistently, you would be able to smash my times, because if you're able to aim it and you're able to do it consistently, it's probably the fastest movement tech in the game. But we'll pick up there, we'll move on to bounce pad jumps first, and then I'll do hero cape launching after. See you at the next clip. Okay, so here we are with our happy kaboom grenade at a jump pad. Now yes, I'm on discovery because I just didn't want anything to get in the way or to cause any troubles. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to hit this jump pad, and as I said before about that like invisible plane above the floor, you're going to try and hit that with just a jump. You don't need to crouch jump, you don't need to even really be holding a direction, just literally at the right timing you hit jump and it will propel you forward. So we'll see if we can get it. I don't 100% get these, and you don't really use these in speedrunning anymore, so I'm out of practice. But let's see. Okay, so that was a little one, that wasn't a big one. I'll just cut here and see if I can get that one. Let's try again. Nope. If you do it too soon, you'll see that the jetpack comes out. If you do it too late, you'll see that you just get a normal like running jump. Yeah, so that one was too late. You've seen the jetpack too early. You've seen one that was okay, but not the fastest you can do. There we go. That still wasn't the fastest you can do, but that's a pretty good example. Right, let's see if we can hero cape boost. Okay, but now you've learnt all of those, what's the best way to practice? How are you going to start using this just in your general runs? So you could just jump around the base camp, you could just go to Haven and AFK, well not AFK, and just let the timer run and just jump around there, which is what I did. That's what I used to do practicing any percent. Or you can run yourself to this speed door in Rift. Now it's a little bit annoying because you've got to go through a few loading screens before you get here. Trust me, I've asked the devs if we could have a way to go straight to Rift without going through so many loading screens and such, but we'll see what they say. But you go to here, you go to Rift, and we're setting up a new thing on the leaderboards on the speedruns.com website called Rift%. This will be no level ups, no items, you go there with an explosive weapon, a character of your choice, and you try to get from the start to the end and disarming the rift bomb as quickly as you can. Now if you want to see some of the best movement people that we've got in the biz doing that, then head on over to speedruns.com. Maybe not the second this video drops, because I imagine it's going to take them a few days and we've only just put Rift% up. But their videos will be up there. Post your videos, ask for help, ask for more ideas, do the run over and over again, see how it feels, and watch some of the other guys doing it, see what movement they do and learn from them. Very approachable, Roboquest Discord, where we always hang out in the speedrun discussion chat. If you want any tips, any help that I haven't managed to cover in here, hit me up on Roboquest Discord, comments below, or some of the other top players that will be on the boards, I'm sure. I am going to release a welcome to Rift % video after this one, so if you want to see me completely failing to do the Rift, even though I'm the one who's pushing for this to be set up, then head on over to that video and I'll see you there.